Hello, folks. Brandon Chapman today. It's another TheoTrade video for Monday, December 15, 2025. Man, we're about 2 weeks away till the end of the year, and we're entering 2026. If you look at how much the market's up, we'll just kind of just back of the napkin math here. Click on there. We'll see where we're at right now. We're up about 16% for the year. Where do we finish? Do we see a late year sell-off? Do we get a Santa Claus rally? Do we get a sell-off this week and a rally next week? A lot of stuff could transpire before the end of year. There's so much news. Powell didn't exactly give the market exactly everything it wanted. Yes, QE, yes, a quarter point, but iffy on future rate cuts. This was not a full-on dovish cut. It's a little bit more hawkish from my perspective. As a result, the market's kind of drifting the last couple of days. Obviously, small caps have done relatively well if you look at IWM, but small caps are coming off, giving back most of the gains it received since last Wednesday's Fed announcement. Big day Wednesday, Thursday, and coming off Friday and today. So again, this period is kind of one where marked by the fact that the S&P may not finish super strong. In the last week, the S&P is down a 0.4%, but gold in the last week is up 2.65%. This has really been a leader, and it's been my expectation and something I've shared in these videos that gold should bottom in November, December, and rally into early January. And I thought maybe we might pull back here and then maybe get a early year rally next year. But so far, so good. We're entering back to the prior high that we experienced back on October 20th. It just seems like gold wants to outperform. Yes, for today, healthcare is kind of surpassing it in performance, financial surpassing it by a little bit. But gold, there is no product, right? There is no business. It's just what? It's just the metal. It's money, and it's just going to reflect whether devaluation is going to occur in the dollar. So what we're not seeing right now is huge support for the market generally, right? With gold in the last 1 week leading or being one of the leaders in the last 4 weeks here last week, S&P showing negative. Why? Technology has been a huge drag. And if you look at last week, Oracle, for example, huge trade in Oracle on right before the earnings announcement here. This was picked up by the console. It's several Ghost Prince members that traded for huge gains because there's a big trade here at the 190 strike. We hit that the next day after the earnings, but the trade popped up here on the console, Ghost Prince surveillance console. And so we had a big trade in AVGO, right? AVGO came up on its earnings day, continued downside pressure and pressure today. And we'll see today in this console, we're experiencing some bearish activity in Oracle to the tune of 10,000 contracts. So I click this right here. You'll see the 10,000 contracts. I'll filter it, 1,000. You'll see 10,000 put contracts being bought today in one trade. So look, the downside pressure in the AI space is there, and that gamma pressure or gamma squeeze continues to drive prices down. If we just see a little bit more momentum, a little more downside, it just exacerbates the downside movement. And so we have this going on right now. We kind of an iffy end of year. So why bet on everything being honky-dory? Why not take a two-sided market and do two-sided trades, both bullish and bearish? So I'm going to outline 5 scenarios that are happening today. So, some days you have to dig a little deeper. Other days you get hit in the face because the trades are so big. Now you may not see any of these. Why? Because you don't have the console. Okay. So I'm going to erase this. This is not just a scanner, right? I pre-filter stuff to get 1,121 different option trades bought and sold, but we're only showing 44 here. Why? Because I have the block trade setting, and we're able to quickly scan the biggest and potentially best of the day. Now, as we sort by volume here, you'll see 150,000 contracts of the SPY. This one's kind of interesting. Notice we have a spread tag. So if I type in SPY up here, and I just kind of expand it out, but you'll see right here, we have all these 3 have the spread tag. These are the 3 legs of the spread. Well, guess what? They're buying 150,000 at the 550, but they're selling 75,000 at the 600. And guess what? This is split into 2 parts. I can see it right here. By like 37,500 each, totaling 75,000. So what do we call this? This is a butterfly for the 600 strike price. That's the target, right? That is the target here. $600. So we go back to the SPY, and where is $600? It's right here, right? So we're looking at downside. This is going into January 23rd's expiration. So again, expecting some weakness going to the end of the year, beginning of next year. Now, does this have a lot of potential to drive the market? No. It's big, but it's also a butterfly. Okay, so there's a defined amount of risk in this for the option maker that took the other side of it. But here's the other thing, that it's also indicative of flows, right? It's a trade. Somebody's taking a downside bet in the S&P 500, but it's something we can take a step back and say, boy, why do they choose today to put on that size of trade? Again, it's just reflective of some of the bearish conditions that are kind of percolating through the market. But it's not entirely bearish. Let's take, for example, gold here. 85,000 contracts today, 50,000 on the alert. What size was that trade? Well, I go up here, I'll just kind of sort filter for 1,000, see what we got. Well, there's a 50,000 contract print and a 34,000 contract print all at the same time. So 85,000 contracts traded at the same time in two different fills. Well, it's also a spread trade. So let's type in GLD. Let's gain some depth here. Let's see where the other side is. And I'll come here to location. I'll bring in the bid. And what you'll see is they bought 410s. How do I know? Bought because it filled near the ask, 425. They sold. Why? It filled at the bid. 85,000 contracts. Well, we translate this to GLD. Well, what's the expectation here? Well, 425, right? So right now we're punching against 400. 410 is right there. And we've got to 425 is up here, right? So we got an upside spread looking for gold to get to 425 by when? By January 30th. Is that out of the ballpark? Out of the realm of possibility? Absolutely not. So if you're taking bearish trades on some areas, gold probably has the best chance to outperform the S&P 500, especially if we see any sort of weakness in the S&P 500. And the great thing about gold is the upside contracts to buy a spread, for example, are pretty cheap. That's why you see these kinds of trades frequently in GLD. And so notice I can buy the lower strike, sell the upper strike, and have a little bit of volatility benefits. And I buy the lower vol and sell the upper vol. Probably out closer to 404, maybe 406. I'm buying what? I'm buying 20.6% and selling 20.7. It reduces the cost to me to be able to trade that spread. It creates an edge for me. So let's go back here. So let's reset filters, go block trades again. What else we got in here? American Airlines. Well, EM. Let's do EM first. EM, 65,000 contracts were at 133,000. That is a big time trade. The open interest was 7,200 before that. Again, what were the fills on this one? We'll filter a look at 1,000 plus. We had what? We got a trigger at 65,000. We had another 65,000 print trade as well, totaling 130,000 contracts filling where? At the bid or at the ask rather. Big time trade, right? Expecting EEM to go up. Now, EM, we're talking emerging markets, 30% weighting to China. So this probably reflects relatively positively in China, but EM is not seeing it kind of flip around here. Gold is basically flat on the session. We're not seeing dollar weakness. So if you're going long EEM, you're probably expecting the dollar to weaken. You're probably expecting a big move in gold. Those two may go together. But on the flip side of this, we're talking about Chinese stocks, BABA, right? So we have a driver here in EM, but oh, BABA. BABA is also experiencing some big trades today. 29,000 contracts traded the March 20 140 puts, and we had about 4,400 at the December 19 140 puts. Point being is that there may be some downside pressure in the near term. They're buying puts on BABA. We look at BABA here, 140. Where's 140? How far away is that? Right about right here. It might be reasonable to see further downside pressure in BABA if the dollar strengthens. And that means gold's probably not going to do phenomenally well. It still should outperform the S&P 500, but the S&P 500 is probably going to experience significantly more weakness in the face of a dollar rally, probably fueled by what? Fed policy. And by the way, this week, we have the Bank of Japan announcement of whether they're going to raise rates or not that could create significant volatility in the dollar. So let's go back here. So we're looking at EM. We're talking about a little bit of a mixed bag. We're seeing a big time bullish trade in EM, which needs the dollar to really decline, particularly against the Chinese yuan. And then we're seeing a bearish print in BABA today. All right, let's take a look at our last one here. American Airlines, AAL. So notice right here, some of the biggest of the day is occurring where? Let's make sure here. Where is it? AAL. Where are we? I'll type it in. Rather than trying to scan through all this. AAL. Notice 30,000 contracts. Now, there's some puts in here that are being bought, being sold rather. Puts are being sold. Calls are being bought. 30,000 contracts. We click here. Was that a 30,000 contract trade that was put on? not just volume accumulating. Yes, it was. They bought 30,000 contracts at 39 cents, which happened to be near the ask price. So buying 30,000 call contracts on AAL, this is a Jan 16 strike price. So let's take a look at the current position of AAL. So AAL, we're kind of up here in the nosebleed territory. Is there potential to squeeze further to 16? Yeah. We also could see a little bit of a pullback in the near term and rally back here. But the level to beat is 16. That's the level. Hey, if we can get to and through 16, we could see significant upside pressure as a result of the calls were being bought there at 16. And we look at that expiration. Well, what expiration was it again? Let's go back here, Jan 16. So if we look at the option chain here for Jan 16, how many strikes have greater than 30,000 contracts? 11,000 currently. We're probably going to add another 30 to that, gets us to 40,000. A lot's being built here. The 15's already in the money. At the money is 11,000. We're building here. So again, we can get to and through 16. We could see things push to a 17 and push further. So we do have some significant upside gamma potential here in AAL, but look on the other side, we also see a lot of put options here as well. So the point is that right now, AAL is a stock that could really move big, either up or down. It's just going to take a little bit of a breakout in the price to break this range. Maybe the last few days to see an upside squeeze or a downside squeeze based on that gamma potential. So those are 4 really big trades today that are occurring in the market. They're really kind of just setting themselves up and standing out among the others out there. Again, betting on the upside of gold, you start to take that signal in the SPY. Say, look, I got to take some profits today. And then we're waiting for some move to happen here. Probably the Bank of Japan announcement this week, and see if we can take a breakout to the upside in EM, or do we play the downside in in AAL. Play the upside in AAL if we see an upside breakdown there, or a downside breakout in BABA. Well, folks, that's all I got for today. We'll catch you back next week on the video. Hope you have a great one. Thank you.